Hi, Sean. It's Rob.
I hear you. Perfect. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, all right. Sort of a sad day. One of my oldest and longest friends is sort of on his deathbed. He's been fighting Parkinson's for the last 10 years.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Uh, he's up in Oregon, and of course, with travel and stuff, I would like to gone up and seen him, but just not up to it. Plus, I just got over being sick and having the trouble with my eyes. So,
Oh, man.
uh, you know, but I'm all right. It's part of life, and you can't do much about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my uncle had Parkinson's. He passed away earlier. I think it was actually the end of last year, but recently. And but yeah, I mean, he ended up getting COVID actually because he had Parkinson's so bad that he was like in fetal position,
Mm-hmm.
and he couldn't move, his yeah, and couldn't kind of remember, I guess, how to move his. I don't know. I don't know much about it, but um, and while he was in the hospital, he contracted that, and being so weak and stuff, I mean, he would have caught a cold and probably would have taken him out. So
It sort of happened. Actually, it's similar to what happened to my friend. He caught COVID, even though he's been vaccinated and such. Caught COVID back in the second week of May or something. Survived it, but it sort of took the last
yep,
wind out of him. So,
for sure. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
yeah. But like I say, you can't do much about it in life. But you just move on and keep on. I got to speak with his wife's help. I got to speak to him yesterday.
Yeah.
He couldn't really respond very well, but
Hmm.
I let him know that I care about him. That's about that. So anyway, I don't want to spend the whole time bringing you down. So are we the only ones going to be on today, or?
I don't know. I haven't heard much from other. I think Brian's gonna come. He had mentioned that he would. But we'll see when he shows up. I know Will can't make it. Um, I don't. Ryan can't make it. I haven't heard yet from John yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, well,
It was a little like quick here, and I'm sorry, everyone. Like to everyone there. I forgot
you,
last month. I believe. I think we forgot last month, and I just
you
it's
explain.
based. So.
You explain. I mean, it's hard when you're sick and this, that, and the other thing.
Oh yeah. And it's just, family life, right? You got kids and when you have kids, it's just, you space, you lose
Well, I
that
mean,
stuff.
I know you've been working a lot of orders. I know that you had to move, and then you're trying to catch up on other stuff, and then you get
Oh
sick. I don't
yeah.
think anybody an apology. So,
I almost finished up. I had 10 game changers I was working on. Almost done with that. So that'll be good. Um, always good to finish orders, make some money.
yeah, and that's got to be part of the business. So,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Well, everyone knows everyone needs it right now. We all need money right now, especially this economy. It's tough. So
Oh yeah, it's sort of ridiculous. Mhm.
right.
I'm glad I live up here. Strangely enough, up here in Camp Verde, which is about 90 miles north of Phoenix, gas is only like 4.50 a gallon. Down to that in the valley, there it's like 5.10 a gallon. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, luckily here too, it's about 450, but still I mean,
Well,
there was
yeah,
a
I know.
time point about a year and a half ago, I think, roughly, that was, it was $1.20 to $1.50 or something here. It was super cheap.
I just saw the news this morning. The Good Morning Arizona show they have on. They said it was $2 cheaper a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And even before that, a year before that, I think was, like I said, here it was in the, it wasn't even $2. I don't think it was just, under that. And now it's well over 450. So yeah, it's,
yeah, we've had so much strife and misery in our
yeah,
economy, the pandemic,
just one thing after
war.
another. But we still got our health. We're still hopefully we're able to fish a little bit and kind of de-stress. And so
Yeah, I didn't get to go fishing this weekend, and then I missed one weekend when I was sick. But But I've had a couple good trips up to that one multi-species lake, and about almost 4 weeks ago, before I got sick, caught a real nice like 22-inch rainbow.
Wow. Awesome.
That made my day.
Yeah,
Caught
I
a
went to Corpus to do some redfish fishing last weekend, and nothing. It was 95 degrees. The flats that I was fishing, there was nothing. I mean, there was mullet, there was, there was bait fish, but there was no bigger fish in there. And because it's so hot, that shallow water heats up and, you know,
Well, it's sort of frustrating to me this year, and I don't know whether it was just me but it seemed like it went from winter to summer here in Arizona. One day it was like still 50 degrees, only going up to 60
yep.
degrees. And the water was still too cold to really get a good bite on a lot of, on bass or, warm water species. Now all of a sudden it's going up 100 and they say it's going to be 110 here by the end of the week.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, gee whiz. I would have liked to have had a chance to do some spring fishing. I guess I missed the window by being sick a week.
Yeah. It's summer fishing can be tough. So spring is always good, but yeah, it did seem pretty quick there. It's the same here, it was cool. And then, we had about a month and a half ago, it was like one day it was over 100 degrees and the next day it was like 35. It was like, 24-hour swing, like boom. I've never seen that before. That was crazy.
It's been, and of course, it's the other thing here in Arizona this year, and it's been so windy. I've never seen it as windy without any break in it for so long. I mean, every day has a good days, like still has 20-mile-an-hour gusts.
Wow.
We had some days that it was 25, 30 miles an hour standard wind with 50-mile-an-hour gusts. That doesn't make fly fishing very easy either.
No, that's how it was. I ended up switching to conventional over the weekend when I was fishing for redfish because it was 45-mile-an-hour gusts,
Yeah.
30-mile-an-hour regular, and then gusts up to 45, 50. And yeah, it was no. I'm casting an 8 weight. I don't feel like battling the wind all day either, it's just I gave up.
Yeah. Yeah, and my only problem is that I'm so oriented towards fly fishing at this point in my life. I still have my spinning rod and stuff, but as soon as it comes down to having to use that, I start not being as interested in going.
Oh, well, same with me. I hadn't used a conventional in, it's been at least 3 or 4 years. But I signed up to a tournament down there. So it was a redfish tournament. So whoever catches a tagged redfish gets to win a boat and a truck. And I was like, this is more of a job right now to win the tournament rather than.
Yeah, I hear you.
But
Yeah, I watched the video.
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so it was, and so I recognize your frustration with going down there and not getting nothing.
Oh yeah, man. But it's still fun. Got to hang out with a buddy and got to see the fresh air and love my family, but it's nice to get away sometimes and not have screaming kids.
Yeah, well, and fishing's fishing. I always enjoy it. Well, last time out, I didn't catch anything either.
Yeah.
And it was just not a good day. I went with one of my grandsons and my son and a friend of his, and they all caught. I don't know. I think my grandson caught 2 trout. My son caught a couple of smallmouths, and so did his friend. And I never caught a darn thing all day. But it was another windy day. Actually, it was starting to get like choppy white caps on the lake. I was getting tired floating around the boat doing that anyway. So.
For sure. Yeah, it's never fun. So so you haven't it was about, you said 2 weeks ago when you caught that rainbow, and was that the last fish you caught?
I guess it was, time's going by so fast these days. I think it was 2 weeks ago I caught that rainbow. Then we went again the next week and I caught nothing. And then I caught something that made me sick. well, first I couldn't go that one weekend because my eyes were messed up from the
Hmm.
allergic to the shots I had. So yeah, and then before that, yeah. So I mean, I've caught a few fish, and I have to say I've caught some decent sized fish. I caught that, going back to April, I caught that 10-pound carp.
That's
Just my
awesome. Yeah.
never catching a carp on the fly. Um, and then I caught that big rainbow and stuff. So, but that's about it. That's about that day I caught 4 fish, with that being the biggest one. They're all rainbows. Um, but I've been trying to catch. Last time out, I was really trying to catch some smallmouth. I mean, I
Mm.
was fishing for smallmouth, and boy, they just weren't biting yet. Except those guys were fishing a little different than me, and they caught a couple of them, but nothing over 10 inches.
And smallmouth are fun. I love
Well,
smallmouth. They're a blast.
yeah, I try to seek them out. I mean, I have, I don't know. Arizona is a pretty good place to fish. I'm in major disagreement with the game and fish department here, because they really just want to like, they're always trying to get pike out of lakes. They're always trying to get they electrofish smallmouths out of that lake because, oh, it interferes with the trout population. And it's like, I don't want to just fish for stocker rainbows all, you know, put in at 10 inches long
Hmm.
all, all year long. So I get a little frustrated with them because they seem to be anti-predatory fish.
Yep. Well, I think that happened. I think it was Arizona. I remember 'cause I worked at a fly shop in New Mexico, which is border to you guys, and
Mhm.
we get a lot of guys from New Mexico, from Arizona coming fishing there, and they were talking. I remember one guy was talking about that same thing that you're saying, that there was a river, and I'm forgetting which river. It was a really popular one though. It was a tailwater, but it was kind of what you're saying is, and I think it was Arizona, but
I
that
think it's
they
probably Lee's Ferry. Probably,
what
it's probably Lee's Ferry to
it is.
Colorado.
Yes, that's it. Yep. And how the I think it was the brown trout that they're trying to
Oh
get rid
yeah,
of there.
they have a bounty on them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't believe that. Well, they wanted to go and poison everything up. That
Yeah.
was that was between Game and Fish and the National Park Service. Was, oh well, those brown trout, we got to get rid of them. We'll poison out, and then we'll restock rainbows. There was such a, there's a big industry of guided fishing and such up there, and boy, those people raised heck up
Oh yeah.
in
Well,
major.
I heard it wasn't even about the rainbows. I heard it was about some little bait fish or
Oh yeah,
something.
it's about natural Arizona fish like the humpback chub.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and because, oh well, they're eating and competing against the humpback chub. Well, to tell the truth, Sean, nobody really gives a dang about the humpback. I mean,
Yeah.
it's they say, well, that's our job to conserve the natural population.
Hmm.
Well, there, the argument's gone on, and their scientific evidence is so weak. Just like the thing with pike, they try to um, there's an Ashurst Lake that's not only about a hour drive from here where I live, and it's good. They stock trout in there, but it has a population of pike that they say was illegally introduced in the 1960s. Well, I don't even know who remembers back that far if it was illegal or not. But uh, they go in and gill net and electrofish trying to get them out of there in the spring so they don't eat the trout.
Hmm.
And then the argument goes on, and I I was in one online meeting where this was being debated, and some guy posted, he said, well, besides that, those darn pike eat the baby ducks. And I couldn't help myself to respond. I said, good, there's too
Yeah.
many ducks. I mean, it's all part of the natural process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and you mentioned New Mexico. New Mexico doesn't see, California started that stuff with get rid of the pike, get rid of the
Yeah.
smallmouth, plant trout. Um, then Arizona caught that. Nevada caught it a little, but
Hmm.
Utah doesn't do that. New Mexico doesn't do that, and they do just fine.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that I will say with New Mexico, I don't know if they do that as a whole, but I know with the San Juan River, because it is a very popular river, they're trying
Mhm.
to, I
Yeah,
mean, it's their bread and butter for the, fish and game. That's their money making river right there. In
yeah,
fact, that area, I think that river pretty much brings in all the income besides oil, and
right.
for people fishing there. And we've always thought, at least, the people that I worked with and a lot of the guys that are fishermen there, like, because it's a catch and release, barbless only, which is good. I mean, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
great
I
and
fished
all.
it. I fished it. I fished it twice. I used to have
Yeah.
one of
Okay.
the best friends that I grew up fly fishing with. Used to live in Santa Fe and stuff. So I'd go over to New Mexico, but I'd
Mhm.
sidetrack over to fish there. And so I sort of had to, and it's very much like Lee's Ferry. It
Sure.
is
Yeah.
very much like Lee's Ferry.
Very similar.
Uh,
But yeah,
um,
our theory is they should open up like a certain size. Like, okay, if you want to keep one fish as like a trophy fish or whatever, a little bit bigger, because what that would do, a lot of these bigger fish just sit at the bottom of like some of the bigger holes and they don't move, they don't do much. They're too
uh,
smart now to be caught. It's rare to ever catch them. And they just sit there and just kind of eat up a lot of the smaller fish. And if you were able to, get rid of a couple of those, it would allow for some room for some of the smaller ones to actually get
uh,
bigger and grow and be kind of a little dumber so you could catch them, and so that, I
yeah,
don't
no,
know, that was our theory. Not that we don't study this stuff, so we don't know 100%, but we always thought that would be, you know
well, I think one of the best ways for management when they're going to do that stuff is to use slot, uh,
hmm
so
exactly.
that you're not catching, so smaller fish have a chance to grow.
hmm
Um, really, you know, big fish, you might want to, you can adjust the slots
yep,
to what's going to be best for that water. So,
exactly.
and say, keep if you catch some 24-inch brown trout, yeah, maybe you want to keep that, and
Yeah,
because sitting in a hole eating all the suckers for the last 5 years.
exactly.
But
That's the point. Yes, so slot, yeah, maybe not, a 30-inch or whatever, which they have caught there. It's crazy. Some
right,
of these big boys, they're big, but I mean, they do that down here with like redfish. It's a slot redfish. You've got I think it's 20 to 28 inch. That's what you can keep. But then
right.
you're allowed one that's oversized per year, I think, on your tag, and you got to tag it. You got to actually staple it to the fish if you're going to keep it or something. But
Well, I think that's a pretty good management plan.
yeah, I think so too.
There's no slot limits in this state whatsoever. The reason I didn't go fishing yesterday, I could have gone fishing yesterday, but it was free fishing day. And one day a year they let everybody go, oh, here, which Game and Fish thinks that they're encouraging young people to fish. But my experience over the last few years is it just gets every beer drinking yokel out on the river to throw their cans in the water and
hmm
and kill every fish they do catch because they're all fishing with power bait and setting hooks and after they swallow the hook,
Setting hooks
so
like they think they're batting for the World Series or something, right?
exactly. And then they keep the whole family and say, well, there's 5 of us, so each of us can keep uh, 4, but we'll just keep, you know, we'll all keep whoever catches it, we'll just call it all ours, which is really not fair. I mean, that's really not what the law says. Law says you're
hmm
supposed to catch fish. You're not supposed to, oh, well, it's free fishing day and my 3-year-old is here with me, so I'm going to keep his 4, 6 fish or whatever. I
Whether
mean,
he's
it's,
fishing or not, yeah,
so it gets a little out of hand as far as
for
I'm not a
sure.
big fan of free fishing day anymore.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm right there with you. If it's like that past weekend, it was Memorial Day, and it was the only time I could go. It was the start of that tournament, which so I had to go. But on the way down there, I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad. There's going to be every single person doesn't know what they're doing, crowding the areas, scaring off the fish, boats everywhere. Just no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Tried, but yeah, it didn't happen. Luckily, it wasn't super crowded where we went, but I don't think people know that spot, but still. it's never fun. You can't really explore past that because there's so many people. So,
Right, yeah, the beaches are crowded.
oh yeah. But yeah, no, definitely not. That doesn't sound like a fun day to fish on free fishing day.
Yeah, it's just like Memorial Day and the holiday. We did go fishing over the Memorial Day weekend. Um, we waited until Sunday, so some people already had it out. It was still crowded. And then another one of my pet peeves is, I mean, I have a fishing kayak, um, with all these kayak rentals
Hmm.
that seem to give them to anybody, and you got two kids each in a kayak that are like 10 years old, slapping the water and fighting with each other with their paddles. And not only does that it's not good for the fishing, I also get paranoid for the benefit for these kids. You
Hmm.
know, like watch these kids are going to end up in the water.
Yep.
They're messing around and stuff, and
It's hard to fish when you're not concentrating. You're worried about something else or whatever. Totally get that. One thing that bothers me is I get this sometimes where I'm fishing and kids will just walk by. They'll pick up a bunch of pebbles and just start throwing them in the water, like right where your line is. Like you're like, oh, come on,
yeah,
please. Like, can we not do that?
I've had that experience several times myself.
But
But
they're kids. They don't know better. I mean, I don't think they're trying to, at least most of the time, I don't think they're trying to be vindictive or, rude or mean or anything. They're
selfish
kids.
and thought.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But I blame the parents for that. I never let my kids do that when I was,
No.
raising my own kids. And people I say, give that person, space. They're fishing there. You don't need to get in their way. So my kids sort of all grew up understanding it.
Yeah.
I guess that's just what
That's the thing though. I don't think the majority of people nowadays know outdoor activities too well. They just assume give their kid a video game and let them just play video games all day instead of going outside.
right. Well, and it's even, my I talk to my son about this all the time. I get tired of them treating outdoors, a lake, a stream, like it's a carnival. That's why I don't like the kayak rentals. That's why I don't, because these people, they treat, this one lake we go to. I always take a garbage bag. I've actually filled a kitchen-sized garbage bag with
Hmm.
crap just throw floating in the water. And I say, that's, I don't know if about state fairs or anything you've been to, but that's how people treat carnival grounds. You
Yeah,
know, oh, I got my chocolate covered French fries, but I'm done with them now, so I'm throwing the bag on the ground rather than walking 5 feet to a
yeah,
trash receptacle.
for sure.
It's sort of ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
So that,
there's a gentleman I fish with, Bob. You've seen me fish with him in Utah and stuff. Real
yeah,
nice guy. He's
yeah,
the same. I mean, he'll bring a trash, but everywhere he goes, he's got like at least like a plastic bag or something with him. And any
yeah.
piece of trash, if he can, he'll try to pick it up. And I think it's a good thing to do. If we all did that, I mean, if every single person picked up 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of trash every time they go, I think, it would definitely fix a lot of the issues. So
Well, I mean, it certainly helps more than it harms, but it would be nice if they could teach kids to respect the outdoors. I was taught that by my parents growing up,
yeah.
and then I taught it to my kids, and they're not throwing stuff around, but I don't know. I just don't understand it, but it seems to have gotten so much worse,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. And believe me, I hate being the old guy going, well, back in my day, it wasn't, but it has gotten worse. Maybe
Yes.
just
I'm only 38 and it's worse now than when I was young. People had a
yeah,
little more I see that's the thing. You can't expect people to respect others or other people's property or the outdoors if they don't respect themselves. And I think that's the issue is a lot of people don't even respect themselves. So how can
right.
you expect them to respect anything else?
Yep.
So
Well, then I think that's part of the problem. And I think that feeds right into all the great issues of today. So I wanted to ask you a question that's fishing oriented is
yeah.
um I've watched some other videos and stuff like that. Texas seems to be a big place for the white bass runs.
Mhm.
Um, is that just not available over near you? I don't see you
It
chasing white
is.
bass in a
Yeah.
lot of.
It's totally available. Every time I've gone, I've either missed the run by like, I was like a week too early or a week too late. Like I've always missed it. This year I missed it. It's over. I went 2 months ago. It hadn't started yet. I think you can maybe get a couple here and there. But yeah, no, it's amazing. I hear. I just haven't had luck finding. I've gone. I went last year and I went this year. Both times didn't catch a single one. Didn't see anyone catching anything. And then like 2 days later, you see reports of, hey, the bass just started running, and then people with their stringers, like hundreds of them, it's just not really hundreds, but you know what I mean.
Well, I've seen
I've
some
always
good.
missed it by just a little bit. And then with my schedule, I've got kids and my wife works full time. I work from home. And so I got to watch them because daycare costs a fortune. And so,
Well, I know you got a full plate.
yeah. So I get to go once a year. And if I miss it, I miss it. That's the problem for that kind of specific thing. And it's just my luck. But I think next year, hopefully I'll be able to get it. I think I'm really going to push. It's just with this tournament that came up, my buddy was like, let's enter. And I was like, sure. I had to wait to go fishing because I know that I'm going in another 2 weeks. I'm going another 2 weeks after that. I'm going to keep on going every 2 or 3 weeks down there to try to
Right.
catch a redfish while the tournament's going on for, I think it's like a 2-month thing, 3-month thing. So I've got to be able to, I had to wait, and so I wasn't able to hit it. Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hey man, how's it going?
Good. Hey, just so you know, it says 7 minutes left. So
Okay.
I didn't want you to think
Start early?
you showed up and then we cut you out or anything. So
Did you start early?
no, I started at 2. So
Okay, because I was thinking it was 45 minutes, but now it's only 35.
yeah, it's 40 minutes it gives.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got on about 5 minutes early. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay, gotcha. All right, that makes sense then.
yeah.
Okay.
How are you, man?
Living the dream.
Yeah. I hear you're getting a boat.
Yeah. Yeah. A long time coming, I guess. I've been eyeing so many for so long. And I just watched the prices rise from like 20,000 to about 26,
Like everything right now.
and that doesn't include, your taxes you pay when you register the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just keep looking I had a friend that I fish with, and his boss has a boat, and he doesn't really use it. Like his boss uses it maybe like 3 times a year. He had, I think, knee surgery and then shoulder surgery a while ago. So he hadn't been on it that much.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy doesn't even take it out that much. He's got a friend that has a Maverick, so he just goes out with him. So he was always under the impression that this guy was going to sell it,
Yeah.
and he kind of indicated. So I just had been kind of waiting, and then he said, no, he's not. And so I just said, I'm going to buy this used boat.
Nice.
It's old, but
Is it in good quality, you think?
supposedly it's immaculate because it's been kept in an air-conditioned storage unit.
Nice.
Yeah, he's one of like the he's like your typical Maverick owner, a guy that has a lot of disposable income and is just like, I'm gonna put my boat in an air-conditioned unit and take very good care of it, which works for me.
Hey, there you go. It's your gain. His loss, your gain, right?
Yeah. I just, my main concern is not that the motor is going to go out. The motor has moderate use for the age, but it's like little things, right? Like the lithium battery going out, some wire going out, and just things like that, because it has a little bit more electronics on it than I normally would like.
Sure.
I would just want a motor.
Yeah, the nickel and diamond, man, that's the problem with anything that you own. My dad has an RV. It's just like every time he takes it out, he's got to spend some kind of money on it, and it gets ridiculous. But you caught any fish lately?
Have I been fishing? Yeah, I went out last night actually, just for a few hours. I threw a Todd's Wiggle minnow a little bit. I mean, caught a few, and I'm like bass. I'm talking like that big, not even quite a pound. Because there's a lot of schoolies out on that lake. You see them out there busting the surface a lot. And then I threw what's basically it's a zonker strip. And then you take like the chenille, is it, or the chocolate chenille, I think is what they call it,
Mhm.
right? Like some people wrap their game changers with it, and you
Yep.
just wrap it, like you would any kind of brush.
Yeah.
Just put some eyes on it, has a weed guard, throw it on the intermediate, you could pull it through the weed lines, and I caught several that way.
Awesome. Yeah, I use
Yeah.
that for my game changers. That same stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And you just kind of leave it pretty bushy. Honestly, you don't really trim
Don't
it.
need to trim it.
No. But the weed guard's crucial because they have these like tall weeds that stick up. It's
Mhm.
not a super deep lake, but I mean, it does get 30 feet in some parts. Some are like 10 or 12. And it's just a weird because it's a pretty clear lake, and a lot of people, I don't think know how to fish it correctly.
Mhm.
But there's a dude that goes out there pretty much every day. Buddy's his name. Last night he told me he caught a 7-pounder on a clouser off that dock. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And he caught a 10-pounder off the dock in the winter, but that was unconventional.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that would be great. I'd love a 7-pounder on a fly rod. That would be
Oh
amazing.
yeah. Yeah. Yep. No doubt. I mean, the other lakes, they're just filled with hydrilla, right? So it's really hard to get out there. I mean, basically what one of them is now is it's just there's lanes. That's pretty much it. There's boat lanes, and small little areas. So you can fish the edges of the pad. You can get out in some of the muck if you want to, but it's just
Yeah, it's tough.
and like there's, even when you do some of the sliders, like they're just still not like the fly sliders. They're not as weedless as conventional gear.
Mhm.
Right.
So there's that. And then the other one, I just never think to go there. It's like a hard 25, 30 minutes away. And by that time, while I go down to the coast.
Yeah, for sure. I think everywhere I fish is 25 minutes, 30 minutes away, unfortunately
is.
here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you though, man. That's if you got something close, hit the close,
Yeah.
right?
And it's like a 10-minute drive,
Ah, it's not bad.
No, and I just bought the in Florida, they have the state park pass, and a lot of places, not a lot, but a few of them, they will honor it. So if you have it, you can go in after the gate closes
Nice.
and stay out. So if you want to go night fish or something, you can, which,
That's cool.
because that's when all the bass start. You can just see all the little guys like right around dusk. And that's also when the shiners get
Nice,
active too. And actually, I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but it was something silver went after my Todd's Wiggle minnow a few days ago. Definitely wasn't a bass. It was not a speckled perch. It was not a bluegill. I mean, I saw the silver come out.
Mm,
And I think they have big shad out there is probably what it was.
maybe.
So
Well, I hate to say it. I think we got like a second or two left here. So it was
Sorry, I had
cool
to
hanging
hog
with
it.
you guys.
yeah. Well, it looks like both of you got, did you have anyone else here, or was it just
No, it was
one-on-one?
just us.
Just us two.